Today on the Audio Hotline, I'm going to be reviewing the Deity V-MIC D3 Pro. The V-MIC D3 Pro is a $200 shotgun microphone. It's a condenser microphone, and it also has a supercardioid polar pattern. This microphone was made for on-camera use, but it's definitely not restricted to that. We'll get into all of the details about the D3 Pro here shortly, but first, let's get mic'd. Welcome all audio and video nerds to the Audio Hotline. First thing, just so you know, I do have timestamps down below just so you can navigate through this video. Now a real quick disclaimer, Deity did send me the D3 Pro so I could review it. With that being said, a big thank you to Deity for getting me a microphone to review. It really is appreciated. Just because I was sent this microphone for free to review does not mean I have to give it a good review. I will burn this relationship with Deity straight to hell if it means telling you guys the truth. I would do it. I would do it! Anyway. But now let's actually talk about the D3 Pro, which has actually been around for quite a while, and there's been a few different versions of it. But this microphone does actually have quite a few features that we'll go through today. It does have some accessories that came with it, and of course, we'll go through the specs and we'll test it out. When it comes to purchasing the V-MIC D3 Pro, you actually have a couple options. There is the standard bundle, and then there is the location recording bundle. I'll go through each of these bundles and specify what accessories come with what bundle. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about the accessories that come with the V-MIC D3 Pro. Now, when you purchase the standard kit for the V-MIC D3 Pro, it comes with a Rycote shock mount. It comes with a smart 3.5 TRRS coiled cable, a Deity branded foam windscreen, a charging cable that is type USB-A to USB-C. It comes with a storage and traveling case that has a molded interior that fits your microphone perfectly. And of course, it comes with the supercardioid condenser shotgun microphone itself, the V-MIC D3 Pro. Now, everything that I mentioned previously is also in the location recording kit, but it also has a couple additional things. It comes with a Rycote pistol grip that does also have a shock mount on it. In addition to that, it also comes with the DXLR phantom power adapter. This allows you to plug your 3.5mm cable into one end and then plug an XLR cable into the other end, where you can send it to your recording device. This does in fact require phantom power when you use this. Now, when it comes to the accessories and the build quality of everything that's included, I'm honestly very impressed. I was shocked to get such a sweet little storage traveling case. This is awesome. But also just the build quality on everything feels really good. And they did send me the location recording kit, and I will say that the pistol grip is awesome. The shock mount on it is really nice. It's just as nice as the shock mount that usually comes with the standard kit. So you're basically getting two nice Rycote shock mounts that aren't cheap when you purchase the recording location kit, which is $288. But in the standard kit, getting the microphone, the cable, the case, and everything for $200, I'm pretty surprised. One thing I will say though is if you are going to get the standard kit, I really do recommend still getting that 3.5mm to XLR adapter. I believe it's usually like $23 or $24. I mean, I guess if you don't have a recorder or audio interface that can take an XLR cable, then probably don't get it. But if you do, absolutely get the adapter. Now, in my opinion, the pistol grip is really nice, but it's kind of like if you need it, it's cool that there is an option to get it, but I could see a lot of people not needing it. Bottom line though, everything that's included with this, I'm impressed. Well, now that we've talked about some basics and what comes with the D3 Pro, now let's go ahead and nerd out and talk about the specs. The Deity V-MIC D3 Pro is a shotgun condenser microphone with a supercardioid polar pattern. This has a frequency range of 50 Hz to 20 kHz, a max SPL of 130 decibels, and an impedance of 200 ohms. This has a sensitivity of -24 decibels to -44 decibels, and a signal-to-noise ratio of 84 decibels, and a dynamic range of 114 decibels. This is an end-address microphone with a mono sound field. This features a battery life of greater than 50 hours and a battery capacity of 320 milliamp hours, and a charging time of less than 2 hours. I'll put the frequency response graph and the polar pattern graph up on the screen so you can check them out. One quick note I will say about the frequency response graph, though, is that it doesn't have a very boosted high end, unlike a lot of microphones nowadays. Now that we've talked about some of the basic specs, now I'm going to tell you about some of the features and some of the specs that are affected by those features. The D3 Pro has two high-pass filter options, one that drops off at 75 Hz and the other at 150 Hz. On the back end of the D3 Pro is where you will find your gain dial. This controls the microphone's built-in preamp gain, and you can set your gain with this knob rather than whatever device you're plugged into. On the side of this microphone is where you will find a USB-C port, and that is where this microphone is charged. Right next to that, you will find the 3.5mm output jack. That is where you will plug in the smart 3.5mm cable and plug it into whatever device you want to record it. Now, the specs for this microphone seem really great, and the features are awesome. I love the two-option high-pass filter for microphones like this. And for me, if I'm going to use a microphone on my camera, that microphone has to have its own preamp in it, and I have to be able to set the gain from that microphone. The reason why is because camera preamps are literal garbage. They are so bad. So being able to drive that gain with the microphone rather than the camera's preamp is a must for me. You get just substantially less noise in your signal. Well, now we're at the point where we're going to start testing this microphone out. We'll do a couple quick basic ones right now, and then we will do some more specific tests for this microphone in particular. Now, if I want to get really close to the D3 Pro, here's how it's going to sound. Now, if I get really close to the microphone with the windscreen on, here's how it's going to sound. I'm definitely a lot less scared of plosives when I have this windscreen on. And speaking of plosives, let's go ahead and do that test. It's gonna be loud. I'm gonna be kind of close to the mic, so fair warning, microphones like these do not take plosives well. I'm not gonna do my usual super intense plosive test. I'm just gonna do like regular talking plosive test. Peter Parker picked a patch of pickled peanuts. Peter Parker picked a patch of pickled peanuts. Now, just to hear a quick sound difference between talking with the windscreen and without the windscreen, here is without the windscreen on, and now I'm talking into the microphone with the windscreen on. It is definitely a noticeable difference, but windscreens can be a necessary evil, especially in certain situations, or if you want to get relatively close to this microphone. Now when I'm banging on this super loud keyboard with Cherry MX Blues in it, here's how it sounds. Now to test the polar pattern even more extensively, I'm going to use some white noise. Here's the microphone just in completely flat mode. Here in a second, I will engage the 75 Hz high pass filter. But before I do that, I just want to get a little bit close to the microphone just so we are able to hear that proximity effect and how much that 75 Hz high pass filter takes out. 75 Hz high pass filter engaged. And here's the 150 Hz high pass filter engaged. This is in flat mode. Now we're back in flat mode, farther away. Here's how it sounds. 75 Hz high pass filter engaged. 150 Hz high pass filter engaged. But here's how this microphone would sound if you're about 8 inches to a foot away from it and you are going to put some post-processing on it, maybe for a podcast, voiceover, or just your YouTube videos. And if you want the proximity effect a little bit more, here's how it could sound with some EQ, some compression, maybe a limiter. I'll let you know whatever I use down in the lower third of this video. And here's how it sounds with the windscreen on with the exact same post-processing, absolutely nothing changed. And when I add this post-processing, I'm just going to do a high-pass filter just to where it sounds good on my voice. I'm not going to do any other EQ. Just because I think it's better for you to hear a simple version of post-processing rather than me doing a bunch of crazy stuff that I don't explain to you. And I know that there are quite a few people that don't want microphones in their camera shot, so here is just a quick sound test. The Filmaker sound test, you know, microphone right above my head hole. So the next test that I want to do is essentially a handling noise test. Now for a microphone like this, it might seem a little weird, but we're essentially testing how good the shock mount is. So for people that are going to be picking up their camera, moving it around, like, is this going to actually reject that sound? Now you might be looking at this right now and be like, hey, What the absolute shit is going on with that red cable right now? I, for the life of me, could not get the Deity cable to work with my Fujifilm X-T4, so I had to move to a Rode cable. The Deity cable was a TRRS, and this one's just a TRS cable. I'm not sure if there's more to do with it, but it is working now. So if you are a Fujifilm X-T4 user that's thinking about getting this microphone, definitely consider that. So right now I'm actually on this microphone, but I'm about to start recording on this mic, and we'll see how it sounds. Okay, now I've switched over to the Deity. Sadly, I'm not monitoring the audio on here, so I will just have to go back and listen to it, see how it sounds. And if I have any notes about handling noise or anything, I'll add them in the lower third. So if I wanted to do the, the usual vlogger stuff, like lift up the camera, be like, oh, hi! I don't think that's how vloggers talk, but if I was just to, stand here, slightly move back and forth, here is how this would sound. And I'm sure we're picking up a little bit of that clicking noise from the autofocus. I'll move back and forth a little bit just so you can hear if it rejects it pretty well. But if I was to do the whole vlogging thing, grab the camera, move it around, flip some stuff, here's this camera. You probably can't hear my voice very well right now, so that's kind of a bummer. But essentially here's the handling noise, like moving the camera back and forth, flipping the screen around, all that stuff. Right now I have the Deity V-MIC D3 Pro plugged into the Canon R6. I have the Canon R6 preamp turned as low as possible, and I have the D3 Pro at about 75%. This is honestly probably one of the worst recording situations you could be in. There's currently an AC unit on, there's construction workers to the side of me just bunging away, dude, just bang, bang, bang. And this is an extremely untreated room, quite reverberant. So if you're thinking about getting this mic and you're going to be using it in an untreated room or a room that's pretty noisy or both, this is a pretty good test for that. And if you ever want to flip the microphone around, do some commentary while you film some cats, here's how it's going to sound. Here's another adorable little kitty cat. You are everything, fine sir. I love you. Will you please just look at that freaking paw? Is that even real? What is that? It's so cute! Here's the other little kitty cat. His name's Grim. He's a cutie. Right now I'm just doing a real quick wind rejection test. I'm showing you some plants just to illustrate that there is actually some wind happening. Right now I do have the windscreen on the microphone. Here's the sound of this microphone with the windscreen off. And I will engage the high-pass filters just to see if it can kill some of that wind noise. Here's with the 75 Hz high-pass filter engaged. And now here's the 150 Hz high-pass filter engaged. Now in a lot of my reviews, I like to do a real quick sound comparison. But one thing I like to do even more is a blind comparison. So I'm going to put some different microphones against each other. I'll let you know which ones I decide to put in this. And after you hear the blind test, if you want to comment down below which one you think is which, go ahead and do that, man. I'm not going to stop you. So let's go ahead and jump into this blind comparison. Here is the sound of microphone number 1 in this blind comparison. All of these microphones are plugged into the Zoom H1. All the gain for each microphone is being adjusted to hit negative 12 decibels. Now here is the sound of microphone number 2 in the blind sound comparison. And now here is the sound of microphone number 3 in the blind comparison. This microphone, like the others, is going into the Zoom H1. And now here is the sound of microphone number 4 in the blind comparison, going into the Zoom H1. Once again, here is the sound of microphone number 1, and I'm about 8 inches away from this microphone. Once again, here is the sound of microphone number 3 in the blind comparison. Here's how it sounds about 8 inches away from this microphone. Once again, we have microphone number 2, and here's how it sounds about 8 inches away from this microphone, same as the others. Once again, here is the sound of microphone number 4 in the blind comparison. Here in a couple seconds, I'll review which microphone is which. I don't want to spoil it for you if you do want to comment, so go ahead and pause it if you need to. And now here are the microphones that were in the blind comparison. Microphone number 1 was the Rode VideoMic NTG. Microphone number 2 was the Deity V-MIC D3 Pro. Microphone number 3 was the Audio-Technica AT875R. And microphone number 4 was the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus. Now when it comes to blind comparisons and comparisons between microphones in general, audio is subjective, so everyone has a different opinion, different preferences, and that's fine. Picking the microphone that you want, that fits the sound that you want, is important. Now just a real quick disclaimer about that comparison. The AT875R is the only microphone that is actually an XLR microphone. However, you can use an XLR to 3.5mm because this doesn't require 48 volts of phantom power. Your camera can actually power this microphone. When this microphone goes into a camera, it is pretty noisy. However, you can get this microphone for about $170 and get a Zoom H1, which is what I'm using right now, used for like $60. That's a $230 package, and I just wanted to include, a little bit of a different option for some people. But if you want all the control that this has with the high pass filters, the gain knob, and just being better when plugged into a camera, I wouldn't recommend this one. But if you are going to be in a studio, this is a pretty good option also. But the Deity D3 Pro is definitely more versatile. Well, now that we've gone through the basics, the specs, we tested this microphone out, we did the whole damn thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and get to my review, my opinion of the Deity D3 Pro. When it comes to the V-MIC D3 Pro, I think there are a lot of good things. And then there are a couple things that I wish that it had that it doesn't, but it is cheaper than other products that have those features, and it is quite a bit older than those other products too. Starting positive, I think that this is built really well. The accessories are absolutely great. I think that the price is reasonable for everything that you get, considering the other two things that I mentioned, build quality and accessories. It having its own dedicated gain knob on the back of the microphone is absolutely fantastic. Having the high pass filter options, great. The Ryko shock mount is really nice. In the more expensive bundle, I absolutely love the XLR adapter, and I am a fan of the handle. I think that it's actually going to come in really handy for me. Handle. But if you don't need that handle and you want the XLR adapter, get the less expensive version and just pay the like $24 to get the adapter. Anyone that's going to get this microphone or has a microphone like this that can use that XLR adapter, and you have like an XLR recorder or an audio interface, I absolutely recommend getting that XLR adapter. That thing is awesome. And a big pro, the sound. I think the sound of this microphone is very good. Everything that this offers you for the price, I think, is very impressive. Now for the not so great things. Even though I think windscreens are absolutely necessary and I think that they are very important, this windscreen does change the sound of the microphone pretty substantially. It's just kind of bound to happen, but I will say if you don't need to use the windscreen, don't use the windscreen. Because I do like that fuller sound that you get without it. I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say their name. When it comes to the Rode VideoMic NTG, there are a couple features that it has that I wish this had, but I will say that this microphone seems like it pretty much inspired the NTG. The Rode NTG has a USB-C plug on the side of it, and you can actually plug that into your computer and record with your computer. Very cool. Very nice feature. I do also like the fact that the Rode VideoMic NTG has a pad on it, and it also gives you an option to have a safety track. The safety track is something that I really wish this microphone had. For example, what that safety track does is it makes either the left or right channel like 20 decibels quieter. That way that if I accidentally clip the microphone, I have that safety track that I can go back to and it's not clipped. But I mean, you could still clip the safety tracks. Now I know I've said some good stuff about the Rode VideoMic NTG, but it is $50 more than this. So this one comes in at $199, the other one comes in at $249. So yeah, I do wish that it had the safety track and stuff, but getting this for $50 cheaper and it comes with better accessories, I mean, it's just a case-by-case basis on what a person needs, but that's a really good deal. But I did do a comparison earlier, check that out, see what you like, see what features you need and everything, go from there. But a couple things I do want to say about Deity is that I feel like they are such good innovators. They're constantly coming out with products that actually help solve a problem. Like the Deity Duo, having a capsule on the front and the back. And I actually bought the Deity Duo myself use it all the time. So I gotta give Deity props for being innovative, and I like helping companies that are that way. So between them having very reasonable prices, great products, and constantly innovating, and not to mention having amazing customer service, it's hard for me not to recommend to go with Deity. And I know, Deity sent me this microphone, but I promise this is my honest opinion. That seriously is how I feel. But all things considered, the accessories, the sound, the price, everything, the grade that I give the Deity V-MIC D3 Pro is an A-. So with a grade of a C being average, meaning the microphone is worth the money, but you're not getting anything great. So considering that is what a C means, what I'm saying is that I do recommend this microphone, and I think it is very excellent for the price you're paying. Thank you all for watching my review of the Deity V-MIC D3 Pro. I hope it helped you out, helped you decide whether you want to get one of these or not, but most of all, I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for a lot more reviews, comparisons, some future Q&A episodes, and a bunch of other stuff. And once again, a thank you to Deity for sending me this microphone to try out. It is truly appreciated. And an even bigger thank you to everyone that is subscribed to this channel. You're awesome. And an even bigger thank you to everyone that is a member of this channel. You guys are truly awesome. But if you aren't subscribed or you aren't a member and you want to join, oh, sweet. You should think about doing that. That would be cool. But seriously, a big thank you to all Audio Hotline supporters. But once again, thank you all for watching the Audio Hotline. I'll see you audio nerds next time.